What's up, everyone? Feels like it's been forever, and it kind of has. Obviously, I haven't been posting as much. Just been extremely busy focusing on, family time and trying to do all that thing. But anyway, here I am next to Old Glory here. You might be seeing that in the future somewhere. We are out here today just doing a little crop scouting. It's honestly a lot later than when I wanted to do this video, but hey, better late than never. It's currently August 9th, and we're pretty much well past pollination, or finishing up with pollination, kind of getting into the tail end of things here. Anyway, I'm gonna go to about 3 fields. This one that we're gonna start in is the beans that we planted into cover crop. Extremely late, extremely terrible conditions, and you're going to see some of the effects of that in the drone footage. And then also on this field, it's a seed corn field, so it's got some isolation. So there's some corn here. The corn here looks pretty good. This field was planted with the 4-wheel drive, and you're gonna see some of that. And I kind of will talk through things here. So let's go up and check it out. All right, here it is, the infamous field planted into the extremely thick cover crop. And just by starting off, you can clearly see there are some imperfections going throughout the field. As we move to this far end, which is where we ended the field, you can see a very significant difference. This was the final pass of the field, and we were planting, and it was literally raining, terrible conditions, and it clearly is showing. Now we're gonna move to the end rows, and you can see there is some, damage to the end rows. Honestly though, not near as bad as I thought the end rows would be. I thought they wouldn't even come up at all. But as we move through the bulk of the field, things don't look terrible. Now, they don't look great by any means. As you can see, a lot of spots where they just did not grow, and a lot of that was just getting the rows unplugged and fighting through it to just get the field planted. So this field ended up getting finished on May 18th. And we were in here a total of 3 different times planting this field. We planted, or I should say we tried planting 2 weeks earlier, came back too wet, and finally got it done on the 18th. So here we are looking at the corn. Now you've noticed the 12 rows to the left. I'm not sure why those look so weird, but all I can say is we did get some 90-mile-an-hour winds like a week ago. And in this shot, you can really see the wind damage through there. So we definitely did get some wind. I didn't think it was as bad, but it's there. Now this part of the field is what I would call the best part of the isolation. It's the biggest part, it's the straightest, and it looks really pretty dang good. And from here, you can't see anything as far as a 4-wheel drive rows that are not coming up as well. And if you do see anything, it's more than likely a sprayer track, like to the right there. More than likely a sprayer track. But overall, here's a close-up scan. Nothing tremendous. Just a little bit of wind damage, and other than that, things look pretty good. Here's the building site. Grass looks phenomenal. So things are not looking too bad here. We are here in the next field of corn, and you don't realize how long it takes you to get 48 end rows into the long rows. Here we are looking at some corn. I'm not really a Scientologist, so I don't know a lot about looking at stuff other than the size of the ear and whether it's getting picked over by bugs or not. So you can see it's not really been picked over, by bugs. The leaves on this particular plant, I don't know, it's got some weird stuff on them. I'm not sure what that is. Anybody know? What is that? Oof. I don't know. Anyway, they're really big leaves though. Those are huge. But anyway, let's pull this ear, see what we're dealing with. There it is. So let me do a quick count on it. I'll be right back. We'll cut it in half. Break it in half, I should say. We're 18 around and 42 long. So that is a pretty just good average sized ear. I don't think this particular farm is going to be yield shattering, but I think we're going to do pretty well. I think we're going to have a good average yield, you know, maybe around 230 to 240. You know, and that would be good. You know, most of the ears I'm seeing are about this size. Any of them that are smaller still have an ear here, and that'll eventually go away, and they'll all just put all its energy into the one ear. But I mean, so far, just by the ears, you know, they look really healthy. You know, I don't know as far as the plant goes, and it could have some impact, but I don't know. It looks good from the eye of a dumb farmer, so we're gonna roll with it. Now, I gotta get out of here without getting lost. If you're ever lost in a cornfield, just remember the sun is your friend, as the sun is setting in the west right now, meaning if I put the sun at my right shoulder, I am headed due south, which is where the driveway is. Now, if it's nighttime and you're in a cornfield, I hate to break it to you, but you're probably going to get lost. Now this here, this is what you call a sprayer track runover. And unfortunately it happens, but there's nothing we can do about it. We'll get back to the pickup. I'll send the drone up and we'll take a look from the sky and see if we can notice any wind damage or any significant evidence of four-wheel drive height difference in corn. See you up there. All right, here we are. First things first, this is a brand new field to us this year, so we don't have a lot of data on it. We don't know a lot about it, but it was planted on April 26th. It was the second field of corn we planted, and right there, that is a sprayer runover track, so disregard that. Other than that, man, this field from up here is looking beautiful, and this farm lays extremely nice. It's really flat. As we circle back around here, you know, just trying to find any evidence of four-wheel drive tracks. And I mean, from here, you really can't see anything. You know, I maybe notice a little discoloration, you know, every so often, you know, maybe a little darker, a little greener, but there could be a lot of different variances. I mean, that could just be nitrogen, as this was side dressed, you know, a lot of variables there. As we move down here on some close-up shots, really looking in from the waterway here, just watch really closely. If you see any visible differences in height, color, and I just don't see anything. Here we are flying over myself. Say hi. Here we are at the last couple of farms we're going to look at. We got a field of corn and a field of beans just across the creek. So this is a field of corn here, is on some very different soils throughout the field. It's 35 acres. It's got some really sandy spots and it has some good spots. So it's just a very spotty farm. And this also has some new growth on it. I tilled up some grass and we planted corn there because I felt the grass was pointless. I was like, I might as well just have corn there. If it makes 100 bushel, it makes 100 bushel, you know? And it kind of made the farm a very odd shape. So this squared it up really nice. So we'll check that out. And then across the creek, the beans look really good over there. And that's a very good farm across the creek. That was actually our highest yielding commercial cornfield last year. It's beans this year, and that was 100% planted with the four-wheel drive. So we'll be able to see the four-wheel drive on some beans, see how those look. and we can kind of see if we notice anything there. But let's take a look at this corn, then we'll hop over and look at the beans, see how it looks. So this particular field was planted April 29th, so not too far after the last field. And surprisingly, I thought this farm looked pretty dang good, considering the factors. But here we are. This is on top of the hill or the ridge, and you can definitely see just the different levels of the corn, the discoloration throughout this area. I did put manure on this ridge, and hopefully we'll get some organic matter out of it. But there, look at that discoloration through there. You can tell there's definitely a sand pocket in through there. And then as we move across the waterway here, you can see the sand pocket kind of continues across the waterway into the very light green discolored area there. Other than that, those are really the two spots in the field that are bad. Other than that, everything looks really pretty darn good. As we work our way up to the south end of the field, it starts looking really, really pretty good up here. Especially in through here. That looks gorgeous. And I don't see any evidence of wheel tracks or anything like that. All right, we're going to hop across the creek and take a look at these beans quick. So these beans look absolutely gorgeous. And you can definitely tell the difference from the field of cover crop from earlier. And these are just straight as an arrow. Just absolutely beautiful. And these were 100% planted with a four-wheel drive tractor, the 9430 in Loch Ness. And there is literally no difference. And I can see them some green spots now, kind of in through there, but heck, the greener the better, am I right? But just looks great. It's a 195 acre field. Just lays pretty good, just rolling. Great soil in through here. That just looks amazing. So we're going to get down a little bit closer here, really hone in, and just no visible difference. The beans look great. As we hop across the waterway, I noticed something a little odd right there. Look at that. See that? And I come back to it here. I'm like, oh, look at that. But then I soon realized that is just sprayer tracks from them outlining the waterway, because it's only 2 rows and it really didn't do too much damage, but it's not four-wheel drive. Sprayer tracks. We're in the field that I just showed, the one with the sandy spots that you could see on the drone. And right now I'm in, it's not really an end row. It's along the edge of the field. I'm about 10 rows in maybe. I'm not gonna go too far out here because it'd take a long ways to get out to the rows because of the way that's... Anyway, we'll pull one of these rows. These don't get driven over, so they're not like true end rows. And I can tell they're quite a bit smaller, but we'll see what they look like. Okay, so this is a 16 round by about 32 to 33 long. So quite a bit smaller than the other year. You know, a yield, you know, typical of this size. The diameter 16 around is, you know, it's not bad. 18 is more ideal, but you're looking at probably 180 to 200. I honestly, on something like this, and some of these ears are probably a little better, but I notice, you know, we've got something going on here in the end. Looks like we might have some insects feeding on that, or it just ran out of juice to fill the end of that ear off. They call this tipping. So yeah, I don't know if it's insects or if it's lack of nutrients to continue to fill out that ear. But overall, you know, you can't be too disappointed on a field like this. Although we are in, I wouldn't say the best spot of the field, but maybe an average spot of the field, I would say. Oh, look at this. A little bit of wind damage. Well, those are like scatter rows. But yeah, so you can see, you know, we got some weird stuff going on here. Look at this little guy. Oh, I know what's going on. I know. Oh, that's what's going on. The planter stopped, and you got a bunch of pile up. Yep, that's pretty typical. But also, I'd like you to take note of the cracking. So, somewhat dry, although this dirt is very moist, as we just had like 1.5 inches of rain. So, I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. We've had really good rains here. This ear does look a bit better than the other one. You can see it's tipping back just a little bit. Not near as bad as the other one. This one looks pretty good, honestly. Let's just pull this guy. You know, that's a good sign when it has another one. That means it's a healthy plant. This is also 16 around, but it's 38 long. You can tell the tip back isn't near as bad. So, you know, something like this, you may find some 200 to 220. But, you know, overall, that 16 to 18, you know, that gains you a lot of kernels, you know, around the circumference of the cob. So overall, you're looking at a 16 around, you know, you're looking anywhere from 180 to 220. You know, I'm guessing the field, you know, would average around 200, which for this field would be pretty good. I think 2 years ago, the yield on this was about 190, maybe just shy of 190. So if we can get anything better than that, I think we're doing pretty good on this particular field. Well, that's pretty much going to conclude the tour. I will be honest, I did not go to any of our juggernaut cornfields. I just didn't want to be driving around, you know, half the county. But I will tell you, you know, we will probably have some fields that will yield up in the 260s, maybe low 270s this year. I'm hoping. I mean, you know, you get the feeling we've had the rain, the hybrids are there, and we're going to have some good yields. You know, just looking at these farms, you know, especially this one, at where it's at and the type of farm it is, if it looks good. So our really juggernaut farms should be pretty good too. So that's going to conclude the crop tour of the video, and just looking at things. And I'm going to get back, throw this together, and then we'll talk about, you know, the effects of the 4-wheel drive and our experience with it. See you in a bit. Here we are. This is my new office, the new studio. Check it out. So, yeah. Anyway, let's just talk real brief. I'm going to make this super quick. I don't want to drag this out. Planning with a 4-wheel drive. Guys, if you're considering it, don't worry about it at all. You're going to be just fine. We had no problem with it. I see no visible differences. Now, I'm only speaking after 1 year. You know, we could get a really wet year and maybe see some effect then. But until then, we don't know. As far as it goes right now, we're going to be planning with it next year. You know, as long as nothing crazy happens. But hey, I think overall, Honey Badger loved planning with the 4-wheel drive. I thought it was great. It's maneuverable just fine. I think it's better than a 2-track. And you're sitting high up. And honestly, you're really floating out the weight through 8 tires. We dropped the PSI of the tires down. I don't know if I ever mentioned that in a video. But man, the thing just floated really well. And overall, great experience. I don't think you have to worry about anything. So that's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the funnies.